I've been getting really into coffee recently. I've drank coffee, growing up, in high school. Really, I think was when I drank coffee super heavily. Not because I like the flavor, but because, like I imagine a lot of kids, teenagers do. You drink it because it's what the adults do. It's supposed to be more sophisticated. I remember going and buying my favorite brand to buy at the time was Chock full of Nuts. It was a brand I think you could find through Walmart. I imagine it's probably not great coffee, but I bought it because it was something different than my parents had. It really kind of loud yellow and black can, if I'm remembering correctly. Chock full of Nuts is a funny name. I don't really know what the name is all about. It didn't really have a nutty flavor. It just kind of tasted like coffee. And then as I started getting into it now as an adult, it's strange that like coffee has this, you're supposed to taste it in a certain way that I've kind of learned how to do, where you kind of slurp it across your tongue, and really experienced coffee tasters can taste where the bean's from. Some can apparently taste how it was ground. It's really interesting. I'm not really at that point. I can kind of taste chocolatey notes, sometimes fruity notes, but really that's about the extent of my coffee tasting. I did get really fussy with my coffee yesterday. I've been watching a lot of James Hoffman. He's a coffee YouTuber who's like the best guy for coffee. It's really interesting to watch. His voice is really soothing. He's very knowledgeable and unbiased. And that's kind of my favorite thing about getting into new things is diving in. I love being new at things. I don't necessarily like sticking with things. It seems like I'm always learning something new, and I like hearing a well-versed expert talk about things. I always think that's the coolest part about I can kind of take pieces of that, but I'm never going to be that level on anything. But he was talking about what to do if you have a blade grinder, which is the type of spice and coffee grinder we have. He speaks very poorly on blade grinders. Apparently, the type of grinder that you should have for coffee is a burr grinder. A burr grinder will get the coffee the uniform and correct fineness, where a blade grinder has different fineness, like it'll inconsistently grind your coffee. And the grinder I had is, like I said, a blade grinder. So what he suggested that you do is grind the coffee on whatever setting you want. For me, for this particular method of brewing, I was supposed to brew it extra fine. So I grinded it, and then took those grinds and ran them through a sifter into a bowl. And then the things that didn't sift evenly through the sifter, I reground and continued grinding and sifting and grinding and sifting until it was all a uniform grind, But apparently that doesn't get, because then you'll have pieces that are too ground and too small in the bowl. So what you do with those is you put them on a paper towel, and then you kind of shake everything off back into your bowl, and the super fine pieces will get stuck on the paper towel, but the rest of it won't. And then the stuff that doesn't get stuck on the paper towel, that is then what you use to make your coffee with. So I went through all of that as part of my morning ritual, and making my pretty pedestrian coffee with a drip method, and some. It's not cheap coffee. It was $11 for a bag of whole beans at Meijer, but I guess that's pretty cheap, I suppose, in comparison to what people consider fine brands. But it's not like Folgers or anything. It's a better coffee than that. It smells really nice. But I went through all of that to get it to a uniform grind, and then brewed it, and didn't really taste much of a difference. So that was kind of a letdown, but it was actually kind of fun going through all the extra steps for a time to just learn and see. And that was my experience with coffee yesterday.